I'm not talking about social media dragging. I'm talking about a real-life hospital bed prayers up situation. And you already know that things are never simple when Ems Harris is involved. So what actually happened? Did Rashida finally lose it? Did Kirk's past finally catch up with him in the worst way possible? Or is this just another instance of karma coming in full force? One thing about Kirk is that his name stays in some mess, and this time, it's looking bad. So, what's the real story behind Kirk's life hanging by a thread? Did Messi mess him up? Did Rashida have enough? Why is the entire internet going crazy over this? Grab your popcorn because this tea is piping hot. If you thought Kirk Frost was just another reality TV star caught cheating, let's get into it. Ambulances, emergency rooms, and Rashida lost her mind bad. But wait, it gets even crazier. Nice was spotted lurking right before all hell broke loose. I don't know, but you already know how messy he gets. Scandals and messy drama? Think again because this time things have taken a life-threatening turn. Let's face it, Kirk's name has been dragged through the mud so many times that he would think he would finally get a break. But the latest reports are completely crazy. This isn't just some messy baby mama drama or a scandal about whose back Kirk has been hospitalized, and the details surrounding it are completely vague. You know whose name is being whispered throughout this whole situation? It's Ems Harris. Before we get into this incredible situation, let's review why Kirk and Mies have been at odds for years. Let's face it, Kirk and Mies were never friends. They keep their distance and constantly throw subtle jabs at each other. They also have a history of allegedly acting funny when it comes to money and loyalty. However, what transpired at that event in Atlanta that escalated their feud from petty rivalry to full-blown hospitalization? Well, let's break down the night everything went. Imagine, then, that there was a high-profile event in Atlanta with celebrities, influencers, and well-known reality TV stars. Behind the scenes, tension was building, and in the midst of it all, Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris were out there doing what they do best, acting like Atlanta royalty. Although his name is dragged through the dirt every other month, he pulled up, looking as though he was thinking about something. The two were observed having a heated argument, and by heated, I don't mean a little back and forth, before security intervened and things turned physical. A few hours later, the news broke that Kirk Frost was hospitalized. Now, let me ask you this. Is it merely a coincidence that something isn't adding up? Several sources claimed that Kirk collapsed suddenly, with some even whispering that he had trouble breathing or had passed out. Listen, this wasn't just some stress-related fainting spell. We're talking about rushing to the hospital emergency room with no updates for hours. And then the real bombshell was that Kirk was poisoned because, baby, the way this whole thing is playing out, it's giving the impression that someone tried to take him out. The suspicious timing and theories are now getting even worse, and Kirk ends up in the hospital hours later. No one is revealing the true circumstances, and you can already see the pattern, right? The streets are talking, according to some anonymous. We can't confirm whether the reports indicate that Kirk was given poison drugs or something else entirely, but Rashida seems to believe that something shady went down because when she pulled up at the hospital, oh baby, she wasn't there to play games. Sources, always spill the juiciest tea. Kirk was feeling strange before he collapsed. Some say he complained of feeling lightheaded, while others say he was sweating a lot. Let's talk about Rashida's meltdown and a secret phone call. This woman has been through all kinds of mess with Kirk, but this time she was furious. According to witnesses, she stormed into the hospital demanding answers, screaming at staff, and calling people all over the place. And that's when things really got crazy. Someone leaked the phone call of Rashida talking to someone, and the way she was speaking, she knew exactly what happened. The part that made everyone raise their eyebrows was when she said, "If you think they're getting away with this, but they have another thing coming, who are they?" Because if Rashida knows something we don't, she should tell us right away. But guess who has been really silent throughout this whole thing? MDs? That's right. No social media posts, no messages of prayers for Kirk, nothing. Now, let me ask you this. If you had a heated argument with someone and they ended up being taken to the hospital hours later in critical condition, wouldn't you at least pretend to be concerned? Macy's has been silent, which is why this is where we need to put on our detective hats because something isn't right. Did Kirk collapse due to natural causes or was he targeted? Was there foul play involved? If so, who was responsible? And let's not forget that this all began with NES. I'm not saying he did anything yet, but his silence is loud. And Rashida is acting like she's going on a full revenge tour. Oh baby, this story is far from over because the next part is about to get even. Just when we thought Kirk's hospitalization was the biggest twist of the night, new details have leaked, and let's just say that things aren't looking good for NDCs. If you've been following the drama, you know that after Kirk's mysterious collapse at the Atlanta event, you're in for a shock. Mestier and I have some leaked information that might just blow this whole case wide open. So if you thought this was crazy, buckle up because part 2 is where the real tea spills. It appears that Rashida had a suspect in mind when she stormed into the hospital like a woman on a mission. Not only was she making frantic phone calls, but she was also demanding security footage from the venue, according to sources who have allegedly seen the footage. Kirk and M's argument was much worse than we initially believed, forgetting a brief back and forth. Witnesses said that at one point, Mies got so close to Kirk's face that it appeared as though he was threatening him, and then boom, there was a drink exchange. Following his encounter with Mies, Kirk was observed drinking something, and a few minutes later, he was lightheaded, sweating, and barely able to stand. Now tell me, is this a coincidence? Oh, and let me tell you, the internet detectives wasted no time. As soon as these details were made public, social media was ablaze with angry people, some of whom are crazy, and others are adamant that Mies put something in Kirk's drink as retaliation for an unknowable feud. Let's face it, these two have never been fond of each other. Remember how Mies constantly made fun of Kirk's business dealings while Kirk made it obvious that he didn't trust Mies at all? Could this have been the last straw? Oh, now this one is juicy. Some people think that this has nothing to do with power or business, but rather a secret woman. Apparently, there were rumors that Kirk and Mies had been having affairs with the same woman behind the scenes, and when Mies discovered it, things got ugly. It's still unclear who the woman is, but insiders say Rashida is aware of her identity. Then we have the most bizarre theory of them all. What if Kirk wasn't the victim? What if this was all part of something bigger? Remember, Rashida's and Kirk's businesses have been struggling lately with rumors of failed investments, lawsuits, and money problems. Could this whole mystery hospitalization be a distraction from something bigger? At this point, anything is possible, and just when we thought we heard it all, a phone was leaked. We don't know who she was speaking to, but judging by the way she was whispering and pacing the hospital hallways, it appears that Rashida was on the phone with the well-known reality star. She was reportedly plotting, and guess what she said was, "We have to keep this quiet until we figure out what's next. What's next? What needs to be kept quiet?" And the worst part is that she ends the call by saying, "They're watching everything. We can't slip who is watching." No, that we don't. So why does it feel like things are going to get even darker? We had to check in on M's right, because since the rumors began to circulate, this man has been oddly silent. No Instagram posts, no prayers for Kirk, no shady clapbacks, which is strange because, let's face it, if you're being accused of something mysterious, you should be out there claiming your innocence. But instead, Mies has vanished. Oh, and someone says they saw him leaving Atlanta in a hurry to catch a last-minute flight. People will always show you who they are when they think no one is watching. I see everything, baby. It isn't just some random inspirational quote that sounds like a warning. It sounds like she knows exactly what happened that night. Out of town now. Why would he do that if he had nothing to hide? Chell, this is looking really suspicious. Oh, and just when you thought this story couldn't get any messier, Rashida finally broke her silence. She seems to be exposing someone soon, but who is Mies, the mystery woman, Or is there another player in this game that we aren't even aware of yet? At this point, the questions are endless. What actually happened at that event? Why did Kirk collapse immediately after his argument with Mies? What did Rushy mean by keeping things quiet? Why is Nessie suddenly Mia? And most importantly, is Kirk safe? The last we heard, he was still in the hospital under medical observation. So let's face it, possibly mean anything. But don't worry, the story is far from over because part 3 is where we're getting into the fallout, the legal investigations, and the consequences that are going to shake the industry. If you thought this was wild, part 3 is going to blow your mind. At this point, the streets are buzzing, the theories are wild, and everyone is waiting for the last piece of this puzzle because, based on the way things are going, this isn't just reality TV drama anymore. It could turn into a full-fledged investigation, and when I tell you the police just stepped in, oh yeah, it just got real. Now, before we get into that, let's talk about what's been happening at the hospital. You may recall that Kirk was still under medical observation, but it turns out that things are worse than we initially believed. According to a nurse who allegedly had access to this chart, Kirk didn't simply pass out from exhaustion as the PR team attempted to claim, but rather, tests revealed traces of something odd in his system that shouldn't have been there, and that's when things took a turn for the worse. Turn because the next thing you know, hospital security is in full force. Staff members were being asked to sign NDAs, visitors were being screened, and there were rumors that the doctors had called the police. If this had been a simple medical emergency, why would the hospital be sending in the police? Oh, and guess who was allegedly seen pacing the hospital halls looking stressed out? Rashida. You may recall that she was already acting suspicious when that phone call leaked, but now it seems like she knows. She is attempting to prepare for what is about to happen, and baby, she may have cause for concern because as soon as it was revealed that the police were involved, Mies finally broke his silence. Then he went on Instagram Live saying, I don't have anything to do with any of that, and you guys are so quick to believe lies. Excuse me, sir. No one even mentioned what the police were looking into yet, so why are you defending yourself already? Oh, he wasn't finished. He continued saying, I haven't even talked to Kirk like that. You don't mean? Stop reaching, boy. The entire internet saw you and Kirk fighting just before he collapsed, and now you want to act like nothing happened. Unfortunately, a leaked police report has just surfaced, and it looks really bad for MDs. It appears that the investigation isn't just about Kirk's collapse, but also about a potential sit-up that was planned before the event even occurred. According to sources, Rashida is looking for the person who is allegedly responsible for this setup. Like a suspect too? Well, someone has reportedly come forward with text messages that purport to show Rashida and M discussing how to handle a situation before it gets out of control days before the event. What situation needed to be handled, and why was Rashida involved? Could this mean that Kirk was never supposed to leave that event, baby? This quickly escalated from drama to a full-fledged crime story, and to top it all off, Rashida made a power move that has everyone in awe. Mises is not handling this well at all because, guess what he did next? He flew out of the country. Yes, Nessus took a last-minute flight to Jamaica, and the timing is really suspicious. If you ask me, that sounds like a man trying to avoid questions because, as far as I can tell, innocent people don't just leave the country when they are threatened. She reportedly hired a lawyer before even making a public statement. The police begin to snoop around. And let's not forget that he already has a criminal record, so if they find anything on him, it's over. However, even though we thought things couldn't get any messier, a secret witness recently came forward with new information, claiming that Kirk had already been paranoid about something that happened that night. He allegedly told a close friend, if anything happens to me, don't trust anybody. Excuse me, but what did Kirk know, and who is he afraid of? We don't yet know who she is, but a woman posted a mysterious message saying that karma always comes back around, and everyone thought she was talking about Kirk. Does this mean Kirk was hiding something? Does she know what actually happened that night? I ask this because there's another bombshell that's about to shake the table. In case you forgot, that mystery woman that everyone was speculating about posted something that has everyone in stitches. The questions surrounding Rashida's current behavior are endless, but one thing is certain, the police are still looking into it. New information is coming out every hour, and the truth will eventually be revealed. The real question, though, is whose career will survive when it's all over, because if these accusations are true, Kirk, Mies, and Rashida may face the greatest scandal of their careers. Oh, and let's not forget, if Kirk was set up, someone is going to have to deal with some major legal repercussions. And once those police reports are made public, it's going to be a complete mess. So I have to ask you all, who do you think is actually responsible for all of this? Do you think I set Kirk up out of jealousy? Do you think Rashida is concealing something significant? Or do you think someone else is behind the scenes? The story is far from over, and you already know that as soon as more information comes to light, I'll be back with all the tea, so make sure you're subscribed, because this investigation is just getting started, baby. This story is far from over, and trust me, the truth will be revealed sooner than people think. If you don't want to miss a single update, make sure you hit the subscribe button and enable post notifications, because we are covering every detail. I need to know what you guys think, so please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Is M acting guilty, or is this just a setup? Do you guys think Rashida is hiding something bigger, or is there something going on? Because this mystery is only getting started, and you already know that I'll be back with more tea as soon as the next bombshell lands. Let's get this comment section going. Someone else is pulling the strings behind the scenes, and I want to hear all of your hypotheses. Peace, I'll see you all in the next one.